Hey guys, Joe here, and welcome back to part 2 of Pokemon Red. Welcome back to part 2 of my Pokemon Red adventure. In the last episode, we got the Pokedex from Professor Oak, got our first Pokemon, our Charmander, and now we're about to enter this new grass on this new route called Route 22, and we're going to try and capture our first new Pokemon. And wow, first try! That was much better than I expected. Here we have Nidoran Male. There are two versions of Nidoran, both male and female. In Pokemon Red, Nidoran Male is more common, whilst in Pokemon Blue, Nidoran Female is more common. Both can be obtained in this route, however, it depends on which version you're playing. Depending on the version you're playing, one will be more common than the other, and I don't have Pokeball. Oh man, well I guess I have to go buy some Pokeballs. I forgot that they don't give you Pokeballs in this game for some strange reason at the start. They do in all the other games, but for some reason in Red and Blue they don't. And I don't know why. They force you to use your own money to buy Pokeballs. What cheaps... Anyway, let's head to the Pokemon so we can actually experience the features of this while I go over the Pokemon that we can capture in the area. So obviously, as we've seen Nidoran Male. It evolves into a Pokemon called Nidorino at level 16, and then by using a Moonstone, which we'll get into later, we can get Nidoking. It starts off with a Poison type, then we'll get a Poison Ground typing when evolving into Nidoking. And Nidoking is one of the most overpowered Pokemon in the game if used correctly, and we'll get into why that is a bit later on. Along this route, you can also capture Nidoran Female, which will evolve into Nidorina at level 16, and then Nidoqueen when you use a Moonstone on it. It's also about as good as Nidoking, except it doesn't get a particular move that makes Nidoking very broken in some circumstances. The other new Pokemon you can get in this route is Spearow, which is a slightly better version of Pidgey in my opinion. It gets Peck at the start, which is an immediate flying type move, and will evolve into Fearow at level 20. And they are both flying types. So whilst I attempt to look through this route, which also has more Rattatas in it, for the Nidoran Male once again, now that we actually have Pokeballs, I guess I'll explain the features of the Pokemon. So, obviously in the Pokemon, you can buy items. However, that is not the only thing you can do in that, as you can also sell items if you need more money. Throughout our adventure, there will be some items like nuggets that we'll be collecting that can be sold at the Pokemon for a particular sum of money. You can really sell most things at the Pokemon, but, nuggets are probably the most common thing that you'll end up selling, as they sell for a large amount of money. You'll be able to get half of the money that you would usually buy them for. So for example, potions cost $300. If you sold a potion, you would get $150 back. So it's a nice way to clear some space in your inventory and also get some money for it at the same time. At level 9, Charmander will also learn Ember, which is a very, very, very useful move, and I'm very glad we got it because it is a fire type attack similar to Charmander, and if your Pokemon uses an attacking move that is the same type as the Pokemon that is using it, it will actually do a little bit more damage. This is called Stab, or same type attack bonus, which is a very useful feature and is probably what we're going to be relying on for a good portion of the game here. So now that we've got this Nidoran's health down a little bit, we're going to use a Pokeball and hopefully get lucky enough to catch it on the first go. No! Normally Pokeballs will shake 3 times and then they'll be captured, but obviously there's a chance that they will break out. The lower their health is and the more status conditions they have will increase the catch rate of Pokemon. However, Pokemon can only have one status condition at a time. So we have Nidoran Male, the Poison Pin Pokemon. It stiffens its ears to sense danger. The larger its horns, the more powerful its secreted venom. And similar to Charmander, if you guys have any name suggestions for Nidoran, then please be sure to let me know. So now that we have ourselves a Nidoran, it's time for us to train it up a bit, because obviously it's only level 3, so we're going to need to do a lot of work to train it up. So I will be back in a minute when Nidoran evolves. Yeah, when we get Nidoran all the way up to a Nidoking, I'll be back. No, when we get Nidoran up to around the same level as Charmander. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so after doing a bit of training, I have trained up Charmander and Nidoran both up to level 10. We can actually quickly check their stats to see how much they've improved. So now Charmander's stats are 18, 17, 19 and 15. And no new moves there for Charmander. However, if we go down to Nidoran's stats, we can check that Nidoran has a very high attack power and speed at 18. And it's learned a new move called Horn Attack, which is a 65 base power move, which is basically a much better move than Tackle. It is highly recommended that you get this move because, well, it's very powerful and can do a whole lot of damage for this stage in the game. So what lies beyond Route 22? Well, if we continue going this way, we're going to get stopped by none other than Barry. Hey, Joe! You're going to the Pokemon League? Forget it, you probably don't have any badges. The guards won't let you through. By the way, did your Pokemon get any stronger? And yep, we're going to have our second official Pokemon trainer battle at this point. And we're going to have a rematch against Barry. At this point, Barry also has a second Pokemon, and he's going to be sending out a level 9 Pidgey. This is why I wanted to train up my team a little bit, because obviously our team is would have been fairly weak regardless. But luckily, because we have Ember at this point, it will make our job a lot easier. One thing that I did that I probably should mention is if you press the select button on a move, you can actually change its where it is in the list. So what I did is I put Ember at the front, because that way we can just quickly press the A button twice and immediately get the move we wanted without needing to worry about pressing down or anything to use a different move. So Pidgey goes down fairly quickly. It only has Sand Attack and Gust, so it's not really that good of a Pokemon. But his second Pokemon is obviously going to be his starter, Squirtle. Also, this is at level 8 for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why it is at level 8, but it's weaker than it's weaker than his Pidgey for some strange reason. Squirtle, again, all it will have is Tackle and Tail Whip, so it really isn't much of a challenge at this point. I don't believe it has its Water Attack yet. But, I mean, even if it did, it looks like Nidoran's going to be able to free-shot this thing with Horn Attack. As I said, it's a really powerful attack. And what we just got at the end there was a critical hit, which has a fairly low chance of happening, but if you ever get a critical hit, it will take away any status changes that have happened, so any attack losses that you've experienced won't even matter. And the critical hit will basically do even more damage than your regular attack would. So it's basically it's basically just a really lucky chance of you getting a much more powerful attack than you already had. And with Barry defeated once again, we can now finally progress with the story and head into the Viridian Forest, which is up ahead. But first we should probably heal up our team, because I don't really want to go in there with Pokemon that are half dead. You can go to Pokemon Centers anytime you want, for as many times as you want. So it's just always a nice thing to do to make sure that you get healed up. But before we do that, I'm actually going to do one last thing, and that is I'm going to stock up on some items. Although I trust that my team are going to be pretty well stocked to take out the Viridian Forest, I don't trust that I'm going to be able to get out of there without any poisons. So I'm going to buy 3 antidotes just to make sure. In here you can also buy Paralyzed Heals and Burn Heals. I don't know why, because, well, there's definitely nothing that can burn you at this point in the game, so I don't really know why they did that, but there you go. But yeah, we're probably not going to be capturing any new Pokemon for a fair while at least, so we're going to be moving on here. When I go to shop in Pewter City, I have to take the winding trail in Viridian Forest. And look, it's the guy who was kind of knocked out earlier. Ah, I've had my coffee and I feel great. Sure, you can go through. Are you in a hurry? Yeah, kind of. Time is money. Go along then. If you say no to this guy, he will, I believe, teach you how to capture a Pokemon. But because I've already shown you how to catch a Pokemon, we don't need to go through that. So I suppose it's time to take on the gym. Here we go. This Pokemon gym is always closed. I wonder who the leader is. And yeah, the gym leader is not here. The gym is closed. We cannot get there yet. So the only way we can go is north. Onto Route 2. so it's time to progress. I don't believe there are any new Pokemon in the grass here that we can capture to my knowledge. However, if we go into the forest itself, we'll have a plethora of a bunch of new Pokemon that we can get. Entering in the Viridian Forest, there are several new Pokemon that we can get, and I think I will explain them whilst we do some battling. So if we come up here, we can just get into our first battle right away, and I can start talking about the new Pokemon in this area. So there are, I believe, technically 5 new Pokemon you can catch in this area. The first is Caterpie. Caterpie evolves into a Pokemon called Metapod at level 7, and then Butterfree at level 10. They can be pretty good for early game. They're definitely not something I'd recommend for late game, because the evolved form of Caterpie is very easy to get at this early stage in the game, and for this early stage in the game, they're going to have some pretty good stats, although it'll really start to fall behind the longer you play the game for. You can also find Metapod in here, which is Caterpie's evolved form. However, if you capture it in the wild, the only move it will have is Harden, which will make it a real pain to train up because it's obviously a non-damaging move that just increases your defense. So I'd recommend catching a Caterpie and then training it up into Metapod and then into a Butterfree after that. Similar to Caterpie, you can also catch Weedle in here, which obviously comes with Poison Sting, as that guy was talking about earlier, back in Viridian City. And that Pokemon evolves into Kakuna at level 7 and then Beedrill at level 10. I wouldn't really recommend either of these guys for the whole game. I mean, sure, if you want to catch something for early game, if you want to add an extra member to your team, they're not terrible, but their stats really aren't going to help you enough throughout the later portions of the game. So I personally wouldn't recommend them for much past that. You can also get Kakuna in this forest as well. And similar to Metapod, it will only come with Harden if you catch it this way, so it's best to catch a Weedle and train it all the way up to a Beedrill that way. However, one thing Kakuna and Metapod are really good for is experience. If you beat any of the wild Metapods or Kakunas in here, obviously they won't be able to fight you back because the only move they'll have is Harden, so I would recommend battling all the ones you see there for a good amount of experience points. Finally, the 5th Pokemon you can capture in here is a Pikachu. Pikachu, as you know, is an electric type and is actually fairly decent. It's not the best early game, however, if you can get through the early grind to train it up, it can be really useful late game when you evolve it into Raichu with a Thunderstone. It can be a really useful Pokemon, and I would personally recommend maybe catching a Pikachu if you don't have a second Pokemon at this point, because it'll really help you in some of the gyms coming up, and it can just in general be a really useful Pokemon. So yeah, those are the new Pokemon in this route. So now, and we get to see one of them right here. It's a Kakuna. Perfect time to explain why these things are so good for experience. I believe the levels in this place are from like level, I'm gonna guess level probably 3 to around 6, I would say. So, I mean, they're okay, but as you can see, we get 50 experience points from that Kakuna, which is about double what we would normally get from another Pokemon. For example, some other Pokemon, like, let's give an example here. Let's see if we can run into a weaker Pokemon as we progress down this way to get an item, which is a Pokeball. You can find these. You can find these items throughout the game. They'll always contain a nice item or two that'll help you on your journey. Where are all the Pokemon? Okay, I'm right. Did I seriously just go through that entire thing without encountering a single Pokemon? Okay, please. I'm trying to show off a thing here, and I can't get a single Pokemon to show up. As an antidote, so if you didn't buy any in Viridian City, there's one right here. Why isn't anything showing up? I mean, I wish I was speedrunning this right now because I would get the world record easily. Okay, Weedle. One thing I should probably mention is that in Pokemon Red, Weedle and Kakuna spawn much more often than Caterpie and Metapod, and in Pokemon Blue version, Caterpie and Metapod spawn much more frequently than Weedle and Kakuna. You can get them all in the game. You can get them all, but it's much more common for Weedle and Kakuna to spawn in this game, Pokemon Red, than it is in Pokemon Blue version. So as you saw there, that Weedle only gave us 29 experience points, whilst the Kakuna gave us 50. So it is an extremely good idea to make sure that you get, to make sure that you fight all of the Kakunas and Metapods you see. And I am really shocked that I'm barely getting any encounters, and I'm actually kind of sad about that because I was really hoping to do a little bit more training before ending off this forest. Because let me just tell you that the next gym is something that I'm not looking forward to at all. Like, not at all. There's going to be a few problems with it, and we're going to be experiencing them very shortly. We do have one final trainer in this place though before we end off, and that guy has a level 9 Weedle. And yeah, this guy, this is a forced encounter. You can't escape this one. You can technically get past the other 2 battles without any problems, but this one you have to do. You can't get past this battle. But it's pretty easy. If you can just get 1 Ember on it, then there's no trouble at all. And if we actually click on the space next to him, we can find a secret potion. So even though we can't buy any potions at the moment, we can get plenty of extra potions just from the just from around the area here. And yep, here's proof that you can actually catch Caterpie in this game. It is a lower chance in red, as I said, but you can definitely get them. And yeah, they're bug types, so fire moves like Ember are super effective. So as we get out of the Viridian Forest, that was much quicker than I expected. I was expecting it to take much longer. We come out on the other side of Route 2 and enter into Pewter City. And there's a fair few things we can do here, so first things first, we're going to heal up, and then we're going to go around and explore the town before we do anything else. Because we have, obviously, we're gonna have a tough battle ahead of us against our first gym leader. So let's not think about that right now, and let us explore. So I believe now you can actually trade with other people. I believe. Yep, this area is reserved for 2 people with a link cable. If you don't have them connected, then they won't let you in. What? Team Rocket is at Mount Moon, huh? I'm on the phone. Scram. Okay, so yeah, that guy will allude to something that's happening in the future. This Jigglypuff sings a song, although it doesn't really look like a Jigglypuff. Thanks, game graphics. Oh, when Jigglypuff sings, Pokemon get drowsy. Me too. Yep, it's a nice little touch to show that Jigglypuff is a Pokemon that induces sleep. Nice little touch there. I haven't actually explored a lot of these houses normally, so this is mostly new for me as well. Pokemon learn new techniques as they grow, but some moves must be taught by the trainers. That basically alludes to the fact that TMs and HMs exist in this game, which are technical machines and hidden machines, but which we'll get into later. Pokemon will become easier to catch when they are hurt or asleep, but it's not a sure thing. People still trying to teach you how to catch rings at this point, even though we've had plenty of chances to do it. There aren't many serious Pokemon trainers here. They're all like bug catchers, but Pewter Gym's Brock is totally into it. Pretty nice little, nice that they allude to Brock there. Psst, do you know what I'm doing? No. I'm spraying Repel to keep Pokemon out of my garden. This is his garden? Huh. Who would have thought? So yeah, that guy basically talks about repels and how they can be used to keep wild Pokemon away from you. However, they will only work if the Pokemon first in your party is higher level than the wild Pokemon you're trying to keep away. Did you check out the museum? Yeah. I don't know if he brings you there, so for now I'll say yes, but we'll check the museum out later. If we go to the Pokemon Mart at this point, I believe we can finally purchase some potions. Indeed we can, for $300. You can also buy escape ropes for $550. That's kind of insane. That's kind of all the new things in here. Escape ropes will allow you to escape from any dungeon with no chance of any wild encounters at all. A shady old man got me to buy this really weird fish Pokemon. It's totally weak and it cost me $500. Good things can happen if you raise Pokemon diligently, even the weak ones. Pretty weird. Let's go into this house next. Hello, what have we got in here? It's a Nidoran. Nidoran sits. This girl is trying to teach her Nidoran how to perform tricks or something. Our Pokemon's an outsider, so it's hard to handle. An outsider is a Pokemon that you get in a trade. It grows fast, but it may ignore an unskilled trainer that is in battle. If only we had some badges. So this is actually quite useful to know. If you trade with another person from another game, then the Pokemon that you get from the trade will gain experience much faster. However, if you don't have enough gym badges, they will have a greater chance to disobey your orders. So you need to get more gym badges to ensure that you can actually, you know, have a decent Pokemon that won't disobey your orders. I believe somewhere around here we can get a free Pokeball, but I don't know where it is in this game. It's much easier to find in the other games, where there's a much easier way to spot it. I'm pretty sure it's around here somewhere, but I don't know where. Forgive me for this. I think I remember being here. I remember being somewhere here, but maybe it's only in the other games. I'm not sure. Hello there. It's rumored that Clefairies came from the moon. They appeared after the moonstones fell onto Mount Moon. Interesting. Let's enter the museum. It's £50 for a child ticket. Unfortunately, we have to pay to get in, but I mean, it'll be interesting to say the least. That is one magnificent fossil. This fossil alludes to a Pokemon which we will see later. It actually tells us I don't have to be subtle about it. Aerodactyl fossil, a primitive and rare Pokemon. So yeah, this is where you can see little hints of the Pokemon that are coming up in the future. This is a Kabutops fossil, and they kind of will say that they're primitive and rare Pokemon. I haven't actually been in here in so long. This is actually quite weird. Moonstone? What's so special about it? Well, as I said earlier, it evolves certain Pokemon. Meteorite that fell on Mount Moon, Moonstone. Okay, so that is a Moonstone. Weird. July 20th, 1969. The first lunar landing. I brought a color TV to watch it. We have a space exhibit now. Oh, that's it, okay. Is there no fossil for Armorstar here? That's surprising. I want a Pikachu. It's so cute. I asked my daddy to catch me one. Yeah, Pikachu soon. I promise. Can we? Here we go. Space Shuttle Columbia. They actually reference an actual country there. Didn't know they did that. Weird. So yeah, this place is pretty cool. It's pretty nice to actually get a better idea of some places in the game. But unfortunately, that's really all you can do here. Was it worth $50? Not really. But oh well. You get what you get. And that means the only place left to check out is the Pokemon Gym. Pewter Gym Leader Brock, the rock-solid Pokemon trainer. And that alludes to my problem with this gym and why we're probably going to be having a bit of struggle with it. Hiya, I can tell you have what it takes to become a Pokemon champ. I'm no trainer, but I can tell you how to win. Let me take you to the top. Oh, sure. Alright, let's get happening. The first Pokemon out in a match is at the top of the party. By changing the order of the Pokemon, matches could be made easier. Oh, he doesn't actually tell us anything else. I was hoping he would. This is the... Oh, it tells us that the winning trainers is Barry. So Barry's already been here and won his battle, unfortunately. So I guess we can get started on actually challenging this gym for now. Each gym will have certain gym trainers which you'll have to battle first. I mean, or you can avoid them by going around, but it's probably best you fight them because it will give you an idea of what type of Pokemon the gym leader will be using. Except in this case for some reason, because this guy uses ground types. And I can tell you this much, Brock definitely does not use ground types. Brock is a leader of rock type Pokemon. So this guy using ground types is something else. It basically gives us people who chose Charmander thinking they have a chance by Ember actually doing a fairly decent amount of damage. Oh, and we got a burn on the Diglett. That is really nice. That is a low chance of happening. As we already know, burn does a fairly bit more damage every turn and will lower their speed and attack power, which is very useful. And the second Pokemon he's going to send out is Sandshrew, which is personally one of my favourite Pokemon. I really like Sandshrew and Sandslash. I think its sprite in this game looks really weird though. Did we just get 2 burns in a row? Wow, that is extremely lucky. Can we just get this lucky against Brock? That would be really useful. I would be very happy if we got this lucky against Brock, because we could really use those burns against Brock. So yeah, obviously the lack of damage there from the scratch attack just proves that this burning definitely does help. And yeah, we managed to beat the junior trainer. Latest in time and measures distance. And fun fact, that quote has actually helped me a lot because I was in a science exam one time and there was a question about light years, and that quote actually helped me get that question correct on my exam. So for all those people studying science at the moment for their end of year exams, hope that helps you in some way. At this point though, that is going to be the end for this episode of Pokemon Red version. I'm going to do a little bit of off-screen training, getting our team up to around level 15, so we can actually take on Brock comfortably. Because obviously he uses Rock-type Pokemon, and our Pokemon are Fire and Poison type respectively, two types that do not work very good against the Rock type. So we're going to need to train up our team so that we have any sort of chance of winning. So in the next episode of Pokemon Red, we're going to be taking on Brock and continuing our adventure through the Kanto region. See you guys then.